Hey everybody, my name is Bacter, and I thought I would make a let's play of a game which is visually beautiful, has a deep but cryptic story which is revealed not through dialogue but through interactions, has a ton of work put into the settings, into the game mechanics, is extremely difficult but very fair, and features melee combat. And because there's already about 30 let's plays of Dark Souls 1 and 2 and 3, and Bloodborne and all that, I figured let's try to drift light fantastic and try out this Hyper Light Drifter. Now, this was a Kickstarter game, one of the few extreme success stories from that genre. I picked it up myself, not through the Kickstarter backer, but I picked it up on Steam later. It's available there, as well as for other forms of media. And this is one of my favorite. I didn't used to like these tricky skill kind of games, but I have really been warming up to them. It's hard, but it's fair, and that's what people say about Dark Souls as well. The music design is great. One boss battle in particular has just, I think, my favorite music of all time. Um, and it's just a blast. So I would like to invite you along with me as we drift on some Hyper Light. I'll be talking about the story a little bit. There's not really much of a story to spoil, and so I think I'm going to say talk about whatever you want to in the thread. Obviously, if you're talking about like the ending, maybe put that in spoilers, but we'll also be talking a bit about what we see. This is a game that wants you to look more than read. In fact, there's not really much dialogue to speak of. So look, observe, tell me what you see, and I'll mention a bit of what I see too in the comments. Uh, I have few names before: Spacebacter, Bektoshka, and Backlander. However, I think for the Let's Play here, we are just going to be plain old Bacter. I have beat the game. I have gotten a pretty decent amount of distance on New Game Plus. It is no picnic, let me tell you, but it's the way we're going to play it. As soon as it registers my name, here's a little. Oh, that's right. That was my fault. This is the one place in the game where you can't just click select, you have to press enter. I don't know, I don't get it. Isn't this gorgeous? I'm gonna shut up and let it play, but this art is so good. Yeah, welcome to Hyper Light Drifter, indeed. This is us. You can see we can run around, we can cough blood, we can just do all sorts of things. We have no inventory, as you can see up here. We can dash, that is going to be a major mechanic in the game. And we have a sword that we can swing, and we have a little robot buddy that follows us around. So already, from that relatively short intro, we got quite a lot of information. We know that symbolically, the concept of 5 is going to be important in this game, 4 radial points and a center point. That we were in some kind of a thriving land with a central city that had some sort of catastrophe. There were giant, angry monsters roaming around. We are apparently a fighter of some kind, although also supposedly a drifter if you read the title of the story. And we are involved somehow in fighting blackness. It's unclear if the blackness is the same as that black dog that showed up. But, yeah, there were some cities and there was a problem. And here is a health kit. So now we have a number of health kits up there, which we can use to heal ourselves. Q pops them. I'm not going to lie, they're basically Estus flasks. This game has been compared in a lot of ways to Dark Souls, and I even did in the intro. And it is very Dark Soulsian in that we're wandering sort of the ruins of a civilization. Look, these look like military roadblock things, honestly. And anytime you see this little battery icon here, we're going to be pressing E to completely fill it up and move down. Now, I said I beat this game, but it's actually been, probably a month or a month and a half since I've really thoroughly played it, so I apologize for any untoward displays of foolishness that you may see out of me. One thing that is important in this game is thoroughly exploring the environments, because there are secrets everywhere. I don't think there's a whole lot around in this area necessarily, but believe you me, they are legion. Now, we're going to want to keep up, just like Estus Flasks. If we get to a save or a warp point, then we can restore them there. And here's our first enemy, a little goblin man that just runs around and jumps after us. He's no real danger. You can see they have a 3-part health bar there. Other enemies will obviously have plenty more. And this being the early parts of the game, they're just showering us with all kinds of nonsense. Smack those to make things appear, as you might guess. Press E to ping the HUD. Do it. I guess that's our little HUD over there, our heads-up display. It tells us when we see something that we're going to want to investigate, such as this right here. And typically that's going to be things like doors or picking up objects or activating teleporters or some such. Now, if we see something like this, we can't run up it, but we can sure hop up it. The space bar, like I said, space on my computer, is a very important. Dash is going to be critically important to handling enemies. I'm going to take our weapon here, and oh, it is a ranged weapon. So, there we go. We refill our ammo by attacking enemies and also objects, like these. Get wrecked, as it just told you there. We can actually aim around this box, or we could have blasted our way through it. I tend not to use the ranged weapons anywhere near as much as I should. And here we see our second enemy. It's the regular pistol man. These guys are pretty garbage at this point. You can see already, though, that there's a flow to the attacks that you'll need to handle. Like, you can do a little 3-bit combo, and then you have to rest for a little while. And we will get much more upgraded as the game goes through, but that's all we get for now. So, we'll get a lot of things as the game goes through, actually. It always pays to be observant. Now, here's another ancient, burned-out mecha, goodness knows what it's for. We can't progress any further, but the camera and these lights here were helpfully indicating that we could go over this way. There are a lot of these little, like, not obvious at first glance side passages. If you make the camera go back. You know, this is fairly obvious. I guess there's an indent in the trees and the light bridge or whatever. One of the big updates to this game, which had a mixed reception, as all such things do, is now anytime there's a secret passage, there's a little indicator of some sort. Whether it's a little gray square where there normally isn't one, or an indent in the walls or something like that. It used to be you literally just had to check everywhere, and I'm all for that. I know some of the hardcore difficulty mans didn't like it, but whatever, man. See, we raised up the platforms there to force us to go down. They do a pretty good job on the tutorial, I have to say. You really get acquainted with pretty much all aspects of the game, and you'll learn more as we go along. Not sure where we are, what we're doing quite yet, but that's the kind of thing that can come along later. Here's some friendly little guys. I like scaring the birds. Notice that this is all bombed out here. They do another thing that they do a really good job with is convincing you that this used to be a very different kind of land. That this used to be just a regular settlement where, you know, things were set up in this logical way. But after some kind of cataclysm, now everything is all broken and disheveled. Here we go. Look at that view. This is clearly the main city from the intro. Nothing forces you to go up here, but you do get that nice little musical tone. Did you notice how well in the intro the music followed the action? You shudder to use words like cinematic associated with a video game, but, you know, that's how it goes. I could also dash off this ledge and take a point of health, but I'm no dummy about this particular thing. So, here's birds. And we are drifting our way towards something important. This looks bad. Upside down black rain, and we're coughing blood again. We're fine right afterwards, though, so let's soldier on. Oh, we're not fine. Oh, things are bad. Oh, gosh. Is this a first boss fight? No, this is a shut up and die fight. We're unconscious, but we still hear sounds. And we've been saved by a totally cool dude. I hate to give you spoilers, but that guy is awesome. Kind of reminds me of Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery when they're having the fires there. Another game I should let's play, I'll mind you. I have quite a backup from my time when I was job searching. I have a whole list going. I like the dull background hum. It's peaceful, in a way. Also let you know that this is a tech kind of place. What do we got here? Oh, he gave us a map. Well, that's nice of him. You can see we're in the central city here, and there are cities to both. There are areas in all different directions. North, south, east, and west, with a point in the center. We can go get the larger map then, of course. And apparently, there are some keys over there on the right that we've yet to fill in. There are some things over here on the left that we've yet to fill in. And look at all we're going to be getting eventually. We're a pretty cool looking dude, I have to say. Or lady, I'm not actually sure which. Or if that distinction is even meaningful for whatever we happen to be. You can break the mirror if you want to, but I'm going to be respectful of this guy's property. And all of these terminals will come to light at some point. We can, of course, always switch on and off the lights, which is a nice touch. Look at the neat little aesthetic here. It's not, yeah, take that box. It's not quite anything earthly. I can see little vestiges of, oh, for instance, this looks like something fairly Japanese to me, like a you know, indoor potted plant or something, but this really doesn't correspond to any culture that I'm aware of. It's all very future-y. They tell the story, or at least the objectives, through pictures, and so we are meant to fill in these little squares. We're also meant to look at this by finding things. As you can see, 4 of these will make a whole, and we're meant to find 4 4s, or 16 major tasks. And I think today, we're pretty much just going to get started on one of them. And I will go into a bit of what that's going to be like. Now, this here is a warp point. Very important. You activate it, and you can warp back to here from anywhere. In one of their few concessions. They actually do give you a little English text, and they regret it. Oh, look at that little Moji Pooch. Where's he off to? Just wandering around having a great time? Something looks a little weird with that bird, though. And indeed, it just flies away. So, here we are in Main Town. Here's a little skull man playing his little skull song. You'll find, unfortunately... Hello, officer. You'll find, unfortunately, that not everywhere is good to go. Now, we can go this direction, at least for a little ways. This is an easterly way. Oh, those were explosive, you say? Good to know. Purple things, explosive. Check. Big old pile of bones that we can knock out there. Always good to see. However, something tells me, maybe it's the piles of skulls or the ruined mechas, that I'm going to want to go a different way first before I start heading quite into such dangerous territory. So Easter Waste, there's exploding barrels and those little... Oh, hey, there's just a dude up here. I agree. I heal myself up from that. Well, now, we can't swing our sword or do anything in town. Sword button makes you nod. Gun button makes you kind of shift your cloak a little bit. Look at all the people that are inhabiting Central Town. I really like that. You can see that there are some areas we will be unable to access straight off on account of there's these blocks in the way. And you see they're pointing this way. That means we need to clear the eastern area. I think I called the western area the eastern one earlier. How embarrassing. We need to clear the eastern area before we can get to there. Let's get the lay of the land a bit. Here's a man flipping meat cakes of some kind. Here's a cool dude. Oh. That's the guy that saved us. What an awesome guy. That guy is super cool. We can see that these are stores in here. All of them manned by... everybody in this central city has a unique design. Look at that little guy. He's trying his best. Bless him. And unfortunately, we have no currency. Currencies are the number 2 in this game. I don't get it, but that's what currencies are. So we can get, eventually, new sword techniques. We can get new dash techniques. Once we get new dash techniques, we can come into this dash practice room. And if we so desire, attempt one of the most annoying things in the entire game, which is to get an enormous number of consecutive dashes. I think you have to get like 800 to get the top award, which... Stuff that. Sorry, everybody. So dashes and upgrading our sword is obviously going to be a top priority. Over here, we see another extreme top priority. This is the grenade seller's house. You can see eventually we will be able to use the C button to toss these awesome grenades. And we do it now. We just toss out a little... I don't know what that is. Piece of confetti. Little candy. I like that they put that in there. I'm a big fan. And we can further upgrade our ranged weaponry. We don't get new ranged weapons here. We can just upgrade the ones we have. And, you know, honestly, if you guys want to, like, pause the video or buy the game yourself and really examine all of these stores, all of the detail in all of the towns, I just love it. I just like it a lot. It's just really fun for me. So there's north, and, well, we can go in any direction, I think. I don't know if they let you go south. I at least did south as my last area when I played. And honestly, I kind of didn't think they let you go west to begin with either. Maybe they've, hopefully that's because I've beaten the game that they've unlocked that. Maybe they unlocked that in a patch because people complained or something. But yeah, it looks like they're just letting you go wherever you want. Alright, well, that's fine. Let me break it down for you. West and south are not areas that a new player would find much cause to be in, at least right away. They are some serious places. And I guarantee you that when I first played, they were locked off. We can see this little dog seems to be headed to the east here, so let's go there. West and south are butts. North and east are where it is at. Now, that enemy I faced when I went to the west a little bit there. Oh, what do we have down here? well, we have our first sort of secrety area. We can get a health pack, and if we dash appropriately, up. There we go. We collect 4 of those, and we will have a single number 2, which we cannot exchange for anything. We have to get like 3 number 2s in order to actually buy anything in town, but that's, you know, it's the principle of the thing. Ah. These are the primary enemies, the first ones you find in most places. Those are those exploding barrels, you may recall. I don't think I can hop up this way, can I? I think not. But I said exploration is a huge part of this game, and I wasn't lying. We will need to be exploring all over the place if we're going to find everything. There's no point to breaking the bones, I just like doing it. So I got no respect for the dead, whatever these guys are. Maybe war dead? Who knows how long they've been here. Bleached bones? My goodness, look at that. This is some serious... Like, it's peaceful, it's contemplative, but boy, is it post-apocalyptic. If you're full up on medkits and you pick up one, it refills your current health. Now, look at this up here. I definitely spied another secret area. I remember where a lot of stuff is. I don't think I remember where everything is. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a 100% on this run of getting everything. I think I'm just going to go for sort of a best guess kind of deal. Some things, like, I don't know, the big stuff I'm going to be 100%ing. I'll get all of the, oh, there's major and minor things to find. I'll go into that later. But I'll get all the major things and as many of the minor as I can manage. Honestly, you really don't need all of the, to get the number 2 money tokens in order to have just enough stuff. So, okay. I don't think there's any getting back there. Get stuffed, skeletons. So, one thing that I really like is each of the 4 areas really has its own aesthetic, its own enemies, its own everything. And the focus, as you can clearly tell, of this area is, odd, is water. This is sort of a watery area. I don't know. Sometimes there's hidden blocks, and it seemed like this might be a place like that. But maybe this is a way to get back from someplace later. Sometimes you find that. We'll keep that on our back burner for now. Aha! We are perilously close to having our first useless money token. I really do think we need 3 to make it worth our while. And it's hard to decide what I want first, but I think first is going to end up being chain jumps. As it is, there's no way to chain them, so you just hop and you have to wait for a second. Once you get chain jumps, a whole world opens up to you. And oh, are you friend or foe, creature? You look like that guy the other guy in town was telling us about. That is a big gross toad. Indeed, it is a big gross toad. And he'll show you exactly where that toad is for all of your toady needs. Yes, there is 1 boss per area. And in this case, it's just, it's a grode, which is a gross toad. Each area, which, in what I think is really neat, has a story it can tell. And here, you see these guys, these gentle newts, or whatever they are, apparently have been carting off dead bodies and sticking them there. Those looked fresh, unlike some of the other dead bodies we've seen. Ho! Behold, our first token. I took a point of damage from them, which was nasty. They jump around all over the place, and they throw those throwing stars at you. You can see, oh, look at this. Looks like they're decapitating, mounting the heads of pikes, and skinning whatever used to live here. So these salamanders, or newts, or toads, or whatever they are no friends of ours. They're jerks, and so we will be fighting them at every turn. Each area also has its signature enemy, and so in this area it's the... Let's take a second and look at this thing. It's the amphibians. A big old... Look how cool that is. A big old arm clutching a sword. I mean, titans used to battle in this land. That much is evidently clear. And it doesn't seem like we'd stand much chance against them, not as we are now. There we go. I regained my health point by picking up a box there. But it seems like we don't have to fight them, which is nice. I don't know what that did. I'll be honest with you. Oh. Oh, you probably press on it to return the elevator, if need be. That's fine. Well, down we go. Because of the catastrophe, or because of, whatever reason, none of the areas are particularly straightforward to get around, which is also itself kind of Soulsian, Dark Soulsian. I don't think we can go down here. At least not there. Kind of seems like... Oops. I keep mixing up the shoot button with the dash button, which is not recommended, but there you have it. Thought I heard an anger cry. Oop. Those are all at story-appropriate, or story-dictated moments that we get the coughs there. So we've got some kind of illness infecting us, and we're not sure what it is. We apparently have access to some tech. Now we can go up here, or we can take this rather more obscure path down here. Kill these statues, or skeletons, because forget them. And behold, the very first of these things. Crystals are buried, and crystals don't want to be buried. And so there are, in fact, 8 per area. You only need to get 4 to progress the story, but by Jove, we're getting 8 of them everywhere that we are. Because that's just the way that we are. We're heroic, but also a bit OCD, is how I like to play my games. I've been dashing through, but we really should tarry a little bit and take the time to admire these beautiful temples. Oh, look at that! Looks like those amphibians are carrying off the flames. One wonders what use they have for them. So, the hopping around guys with the ninja stars are sort of our first real enemy. Nobody up to that point had been really a true threat to even the most basic drifter of Hyperlight. Here's the other side of that statue. The music is... I've mentioned this before, but it's just so well done in this game. It swells at the right times. It's very... It's good. It's good music. It ushers you into the world of Hyperlight Drifter. It looks like these are sad little columns here. We can't get up there. You can't dash anywhere with a railing, although I'd certainly like to. I've been listening to this other very, very nerdy YouTuber called Bardic Broadcasts, and he talks a lot about the implied narrative, and he's talking in terms of, collectible figurines. However, it's one of the things that I really appreciate in a story. Now we've activated our first warp point, well, our second warp point, our first useful warp point. So, let's show how they work. Also, it looks like we've come a great distance already. These areas aren't enormous, but they are very well done. The game is a good size, I gotta say that. You don't have to be at a warp point to warp to a warp point. You can warp from anywhere, but you can only warp to a warp point. So you can't warp anywhere in a level, but you can warp from anywhere in a level, which is fine. We will be warping, of course, back and forth anytime we get enough monies to sell. We haven't them yet. That grayed out diamond was the location of one of the major modules, I guess you can call them, in the temple, the Water Temple District. So I was talking about implied narrative, and I think it's nice how all of these levels clearly have a story that just doesn't involve us all the way. We're not a great champion necessarily, we're a drifter. Now, the fact that we can use our sword indicates there may be some danger in here. However, it just looks like they're kind of refugees from wherever this was. Kind of stoat creatures or something like that. Cats or something, I guess. Obviously, you can see, I'm sorry if I'm clicking through this too fast, there's nothing to read. You can see that these were the original inhabitants of these watery temples, and indeed, all the iconography is of them. You can see they were invaded and captured by the watery nemesis. And look, all the statues are of them. Everything looks like it was made by the cats or the ferrets or whatever they are for the cats or the ferrets. And that's the kind of implied narrative I was talking about. No, we can't get down here yet. That you can really tell this place has a history, that, things were happening before we were here. Nothing over here for us to care about, although it seems like there would be. Who knows the mysteries? Blocked off from here as well. Nowhere to go but down. The game railroads you sometimes, really not very often. This is, I personally think this is the, quote, first level. Although the East and the North are both available in a standard game immediately. And I've heard some people argue that the North is easier. I don't know. I went East and it served me well. Look at that. That is beautiful. Now, some of the areas look like either the moss grows extremely quickly, or the place has been taken over for a while, although the fact that there were survivors who only recently escaped from captivity seems to indicate that it was a recent takeover. Oh-ho! Can we get down there? Get ourselves another med kit, not that we strictly need it, and I don't know why you would. We haven't really faced any enemies between here and the last one. I guess you might have been down 2 or something from a particularly hairy battle. The game is so packed with secrets, I've probably walked past something by now, so I apologize to all of you completionists out there. And I know it may have been a bit slow to start, but I actually don't mind that. It gives you a lot of time to dash around, get familiar with sword swiping and gun shooting. And don't you worry, because we are getting into it. Yep, those are some buried, awful things that jump at you there. Gun battle, is it? I'll take you on. Oh. So some of these plants turn into awful monsters. Look, you can even see the difference if you're eagle-eyed enough. Dash up to them and they won't have the chance to leave the ground. They explode, which causes damage to anything nearby, which is a nice touch. We got 2 med kits over here if and we need them. Believe you me, before long we'll need them. Alright, this is the first area that gets a bit tricky, as I seem to recall. There's another nice med kit for us. Look at this buried guy right here. He's not like that guy, who's now down for the count, but he's buried, and that means, yes indeed, when he comes up big. Oh, I did it again. I really need to remember my dash button. Notice how he has that tail, though, which is nice. Takes a few hits to go down. You can get about 2 sword swipes in him. Gotta get away from there and heal. Oh, golly. They take away 2 health at a damage there. It's a really shameful showing for the late game. I'm not gonna get anywhere with that kind of skill, but whatever. 5 health is good enough to survive these early encounters. If I'd had a grenade, boy, that would have gone differently. But I don't, so that's time to start making the best of it there. Now, here comes another small guy. Don't really need to worry about them much. They're not worthy of my full attention. Force fields are easily dispatched just by interfacing with our HUD. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure what the tail is supposed to be here. Maybe it's that patch of green or something? But I remember this. Another nice little thing there for us to get. That guy seemed like he died an unfortunate death. Sorry about your fate, buddy. Here you can see, look at those little skid marks right by the side. That's, oh, this isn't where it is at all. I guess it was the green. Never mind me. Old Bacter's talking nonsense again. I can't break these open. Notice how these are like cryo things, but they're kind of wet too, I think. Oh, I guess or they just could be wet chambers. Signs that the tech here is maybe falling into a bit of the old disrepair. A fine time for a shootout as ever there was. And here, we are introduced to the concept, nerds, of the battle-earned piece of money. Yes, sometimes just through fighting you get those. And those are always in the same places. Ha! Get wrecked. If a guy falls off the edge and he was carrying one of those, it still gives it to you. Now let me see if I can do this. Jump down. Oh! I didn't have chain jump, so that was a mistake. Yes, there are disappearing floors, and they're always marked with these symbols there. I gotta wait until I get chain jumps before I start showing off this nonsense. Oh, I would like a health kit. Thank you much. I'm back up to standard here. Our second major module. Our first if you're unobservant, like I was. And look, they actually railroad you into getting this one by having these row of pillars up here. You need to get up here to activate this for. I guess you could miss it, but you would be quite the fool. Another emergency kit, should I need it. Oh! I remember you! Ah! Oof. Ah, I'm doing bad. I'm doing real bad. Alright. Better now. You gotta balance patience in this game with, I mean, you do need to be a bit proactive in order to take on the enemies, but that doesn't mean you need to, you know, waste your life throwing them at nothing there. I can't go this way yet. Okay. They also have, as you can see, these sort of timing and dodging puzzles. There are satisfying amounts of both, because a game like this really rests on the strength of its controls. Are the controls tight? Is the action, you know, predictable? And I find that generally it very much is, which is good, because the game really would have fallen short were that not true. Basically, it ought to be, every time you die, did you feel like it was your fault? So with these guys, they have just such enormous tells, and they'll sit still for 3 consecutive hits, you know, which is nice. Okay, now we're going to drop this. That is a second one. I may be able to buy something for 2. In fact, I think there are some things I can buy for 2. Ah. I probably should have just dodged right away there. You know, I kind of thought somewhere around here. Maybe I saw him light up just because he was showing me the, no, look at that! Sometimes your HUD lights up to show you secrets, but sometimes you've got to find them for yourself. Now we could charge right up on here, but what's this? A clearly marked second secret. A sub-secret. And it looks like it's just a health kit, which is, you know, welcome enough. And it does do good to check the walls, make sure there isn't anything hiding back there. Oh, mercy. Oh, there are a number of mans in here. Let's heal up. It wouldn't do to die this far in. I'm afraid I'm making somewhat hash of it. You can see, as I said, that I really don't use the ranged weaponry anything like as much as I should. And there we have the reward for that battle, which was a precious penny. Believe me, worth it. You are going to want as many advantages as you can get. You know, I'm really debating whether I want the chain jumps first, or whether I want... With that completed, we find our full walkway open. Whether I want the chain jumps first, or whether I want the grenade first. Because the grenade, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty nice. Now we can just skate around them there. There's a spare health kit down here. Let's wait till this fires up, or is this activated by you standing on it? Seems like it might be. Ow. Doesn't seem right to me. This would be a lot easier with chain jumps, and I almost wonder if they half expect you to have them by the time you try that. But I don't, so... Ooh. This they clearly expect you to have chain jumps for. And so, dear readers, I'm afraid we may have to unfortunately put off this section until I get the old chain jumps. Now, hopefully, activating this is kind of a once and for all kind of deal here. You can see right where this is, actually. This is right out of the main room. So hopefully doing all that means that I don't have to go through all that nonsense again. I can just walk right down here and get my bad self to the chain jump section. I would just probably either die or use up all my health packs in a thoroughly uninteresting kind of way. Write a challenge that now. And I think we're coming up on what's going to be the end of the first video here, because if memory serves, and I believe it does, this area here is our first major battle challenge. Oh, I was trying to do a bullfighter thing and it blew up in my face. Get wrecked. Get wrecked again. Oh. Oh, heal. Alright, get away then, heal. Nope. First death. Alright, I'm rusty and it shows, but fortunately, they're going to bring me right back here. And that is fortunate, because I intend to take this on in a thoroughly impressive way as opposed to that garbage that I just did. I actually do have sufficient, oh, look at that! He got hurt by the explosion. Totally, totally intentional, I assure you. Oops. And the enemies, yes indeed, can hit each other, which is extremely nice and useful. If you are skilled, like I am at this game, you're going to need every absolute advantage you can get your grubby mitts on. Whew. There we go. Who's next? Come on. Oh, that's it. I'm here to tell you, that probably killed me 7 to 8 times the first time I played this game. So, ooh, look, we can't get through here until we have a key, unfortunately. So we'll have to remember this here area. We do get a penny for our troubles. A nice fill-up on health. It just does go to show you that there really is a progression of skill that goes with this game. And I'm pretty garbage at games, just in general. I'm not good at video games, so there's a long, painful learning curve with me, but it was all worth it in the end, believe you me. I kind of feel like there should be something up here, and I wonders me, if it has something to do with that flame? No. I thought maybe I could, like, jump up here and go somewhere. I really thought I could, but alright, that's fine. Whatever, I got secrets the other way. Pop that health back there. I might do a little looking around, make sure I'm not missing anything major, but I think if this takes me where I believe it does, and I think I know where it takes me. I like our little hyperlight goggles, or whatever those are. Goodness only knows what hyperlight is, everybody. I think... Ooh. We remember that dog. Notice the faint diamond around his snout. It's the cool guy. Look how cool he is. He just took on like 30 of those guys. Hey, buddy. In fact, he's so cool, he's going to point out where a lot of the things we already got are. And he likes getting a complete triangle. And he fought a huge worm? That's awesome. And the worm had a diamond on it. Alright. I don't get it, but that's cool. Let's just take one last halting look around here. Now we've thruppence. And with thruppence, we can surely buy at least one very good thing. Alright. I think we can, is what I was saying earlier, get back. Get back to where the teleporter is, and I'm going to try to do that for us. Just finishing up this last little area in here first. Oh, look, you can see that they killed some stoats before their entire encampment themselves being wiped out by our completely awesome companion and savior. He's just a cool dude. Now, look at this marking right here. And also, notice our little HUD lit up there. That indicates the presence of secret blocks. It's always good to pay attention to him. And what is this tome here? I say tome, it's an obelisk, but we can make a virtual dude appear and decipher the ruins, apparently. Neat! We will, of course, find out the use of that and many things later on. But you know what? We need some more mobility, we need some more attack power, we need some more of everything. We need a better gun to activate that. So that's 2 things to mark on our... Well, 3 things. We've got the chain jump we need, we got the better gun we need, and the key door. And indeed, as predicted, we're now back here at Teleport Ground Zero. So I think I'm going to cut it off here. Next time we'll head home, buy ourselves some cool upgrades. If anybody has anything in particular they'd really like to see me get, feel free to mention it in the thread, and I'll take it under advisement. I'll say that. Thank you for joining me. I really hope you enjoy the game. I'd love discussing the world, techniques. If you think I'm doing something bad or should be doing something better, please let me know. Just anything you want to talk about, narrative or story or mechanics-wise, in the thread or in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Till next time, drift on Hyperlight.